An extraordinary number. You know, if somebody had said 2 or 3, I'd have found, and the perpetrator was, you know, I don't know, 17, not 50. But that isn't what we're dealing with here. Over 1,300 falsely claiming to be kids.
Yes, and people have been saying this for years as well, and
Yep.
the people saying it, once again, like we were talking about earlier, have just been smeared as racists and uncaring and cold and unfeeling, when actually, you know, this problem represents such a massive safeguarding risk. Because if you come in and you're classed as a child, you will be housed with children, you will be put in school with children. And as we saw with that one terrible case of the man who came in and he was pretending to be a child, I mean, he committed terrible violence and he ended up actually murdering somebody. But he was in a foster home with other young kids, and the foster parents, I mean, just could not believe what had happened. You know, who is this person? I mean, he was clearly a man. He was not a young person. And now they don't foster anymore. I mean, it has such a bad effect because, you know, so many people will be afraid.
But who didn't spot it? That's the thing. Who didn't say within 10 minutes, something's not right here. This is clearly a bloke. It's not a kid. It's a grown man.
Yeah, but this is what goes on in our culture, you know, sort of plain speaking or just trusting the evidence of your own eyes is discouraged and people are shouted down, and that it's only when like the absolute worst thing happens and it becomes evident and plain for all to see, then suddenly the conversation shifts. You know, it's kind of like with Joe Biden. It was like, no, Joe Biden's doing perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Shut up. You know, you're just bigoted. And then suddenly it was, okay, maybe something isn't quite right with him and maybe he should step down. And it's always the shift, the sudden shift when reality can't be denied anymore.